Welcome to Mysteries of the Mind, where we explore the fascinating world of human consciousness. I'm Alex, and with me, as always, is my curious co-host, Rowan.
Hey everyone, I'm really excited about today's topic. I actually had the weirdest dream last night that I was flying through space on a piece of toast.
That's perfect timing, Rowan, because today we're diving into something we all experience but barely understand: dreams. You know, every single night, as we close our eyes, we enter this incredible world where literally anything is possible.
Like my space toast adventures. But you know what's fascinating? I've heard that what used to be the realm of mystics and fortune tellers has now become this huge field of scientific research.
Exactly. We're going to take you on an amazing journey from those ancient interpretations right through to modern neuroscience. Did you know we typically dream 4 to 6 times every night?
Wait, that many? But I usually only remember one dream, if I'm lucky.
That's because we only remember about 5% of our dreams. Today, we'll explore why that happens, how scientists are using cutting-edge technology to study our dreams, and even how dreams are being used to help treat mental health conditions.
And I hear we're going to talk about some pretty mind-bending research involving artificial intelligence and dreams too.
We absolutely are. So let's step into the fascinating world of dream science. Let me take you back to where this fascinating journey of dream research really began. You know how today we have sleep labs with all sorts of high-tech equipment? Well, ancient civilizations had their own version: dream temples.
Dream temples? That sounds incredible. Were these like ancient sleep labs?
In a way, yes, the Greeks and Egyptians built these elaborate temples where people would go to receive divine guidance through their dreams. The most famous was the Temple of Asclepius, where people would sleep on special beds called abaton, hoping the god of healing would visit them in their dreams.
So they were basically ancient therapy centers?
Exactly. And what's really interesting is that some of their practices weren't completely off base. They would have patients rest in a calm, quiet environment, which we now know is crucial for good sleep and dreaming.
But I'm guessing we've come a pretty long way since then. When did dream research start becoming more, scientific?
The big shift came in the late 1800s with Sigmund Freud. Now, while many of his theories have been challenged, his book, The Interpretation of Dreams, was revolutionary because it was the first attempt to study dreams through a systematic, scientific lens.
Oh yeah, Freud, he's the one who thought everything in dreams was symbolic, right? Like if you dreamed about a train, it meant something else entirely.
That's right. Though modern dream researchers might disagree with his specific interpretations, he did establish something crucial about the idea that dreams might have actual psychological significance rather than just being messages from the gods.
But the real game changer came later, didn't it? I remember reading something about REM sleep being discovered.
Yes, this is where the story gets really interesting. In 1953, 2 scientists, Eugene Aserinsky and Nathaniel Kleitman, made a discovery that would completely transform our understanding of dreams.
What exactly did they find?
Well, Aserinsky was actually studying infant sleep patterns when he noticed something strange. Their eyes would move rapidly back and forth beneath their closed eyelids at regular intervals. He thought his equipment was malfunctioning at first.
Wait, so they discovered REM sleep by accident?
Essentially, yes. And here's the fascinating part. When they started waking people up during these periods of rapid eye movement, subjects reported vivid dreams about 80% of the time. This was the first time anyone had established a clear physiological connection to dreaming.
That must have blown people's minds at the time. I mean, going from divine messages to actual brain activity, that's quite a leap.
Absolutely. And it opened the floodgates for scientific dream research. Suddenly, we could study dreams in a laboratory setting, measure brain activity during different sleep stages, and start to understand the biological basis of dreaming.
So we went from sleeping in temples hoping for divine guidance to being hooked up to EEG machines in sleep labs. That's quite a journey.
And what's really fascinating is how each era built upon the previous one. Even those ancient dream temples showed us something important, that dreams might have healing properties, which is something modern research is actually confirming, especially in areas like PTSD treatment.
It's amazing how some of those ancient insights are being validated by modern science, even if the explanations are completely different.
Exactly. And while we've come a long way from divine interpretation, we're still making incredible discoveries about dreams. The journey from those first dream temples to today's high-tech sleep labs is really just the beginning. Speaking of modern discoveries, there's something absolutely fascinating happening in neuroscience labs right now. Scientists are actually watching dreams unfold in real time through brain imaging.
Hold on, you're telling me we can see what people are dreaming about?
Well, not exactly see the dreams themselves, but we can observe the incredible patterns of brain activity that occur during dreaming. It's like watching a symphony of neurons firing across different regions of the brain.
That sounds pretty complex. What are these patterns telling us?
Well, one of the most surprising findings is how dreams help us process and store memories. You know how sometimes you'll dream about something that happened during your day?
Oh, yeah, just last week I had a dream about a conversation I had with my neighbor. It was like watching a weird remix of what actually happened.
That's exactly it. And here's something remarkable. Studies have shown that people who dream about a new skill or information they learned during the day show up to 60% better memory retention compared to those who don't.
60%? That's actually incredible. So our brains are literally processing and filing away information while we dream?
Precisely. Think of it like your brain doing a nightly backup of its hard drive, but instead of just copying files, it's actually organizing, connecting, and strengthening important memories while letting go of unnecessary details.
So when I dream about my childhood home mixed with my current workplace, my brain is actually doing something useful?
Absolutely. Those seemingly random connections are part of how our brains integrate new experiences with existing memories. The neuroimaging studies show different parts of the brain lighting up and communicating in ways they don't during waking hours.
You know what I've always wondered? Why are dreams so weird? Like, why don't they just replay memories exactly as they happened?
That's where it gets really interesting. The prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for logical thinking, actually becomes less active during dreams. Meanwhile, the areas associated with emotions and memory become more active. It's like your brain switches from being a strict librarian to becoming a creative storyteller.
So that explains why I can accept completely illogical things in my dreams, like riding that piece of toast through space.
Exactly. And this unusual brain state might actually be crucial for problem solving. Scientists have found that this unique neural configuration allows our brains to make connections we might never make while awake.
I've heard that some scientific discoveries came from dreams. Is that actually true?
Yes, the structure of the benzene molecule, the periodic table, even the idea for the sewing machine needle. All these came to their inventors in dreams. The neuroimaging shows us why. During dreams, our brains create new neural pathways between seemingly unrelated concepts.
That's amazing. But if dreams are so important, why do we forget most of them?
Well, the current theory suggests that forgetting dreams might actually be adaptive. Our brains are processing so much information during dreams that remembering it all might interfere with our daily functioning.
So, our brains are basically running a cleanup program while we sleep, but we only need to remember the really important outputs?
That's a great way to put it. And what's particularly exciting is that researchers are now developing ways to potentially influence this process. There are studies looking at how we might be able to target specific memories or emotional experiences during dream states.
Wait, are you saying we might be able to control what we dream about?
We're not quite there yet, but the research is heading in that direction. Scientists are already using techniques to influence dream content for treating conditions like recurring nightmares.
It's wild to think how far we've come from those ancient dream temples we were talking about earlier.
And yet, in some ways, those ancient healers were onto something. They understood that dreams could have a therapeutic effect. They just didn't have the technology to understand exactly how it worked. You know what's really exciting about dream research right now? We're at this incredible intersection of neuroscience and artificial intelligence that's completely transforming our understanding of dreams.
I've heard about some pretty wild technological advances in this field. Are we getting close to actually recording dreams?
While we're not quite at the dream recording stage, we're doing something almost as incredible. Scientists are now using advanced EEG technology combined with AI algorithms to actually predict dream content before someone even describes their dream.
Wait, how is that even possible?
Well, think of it like this. Our brains create specific patterns of electrical activity when we think about or see certain things while we're awake. These same patterns often show up during our dreams.
So if I dream about a cat, my brain lights up in a similar way to when I see a real cat?
Exactly. And AI systems are getting remarkably good at recognizing these patterns. They can now identify broad categories of dream content, like whether you're dreaming about people, animals, or moving through a landscape.
That's both amazing and slightly unsettling. How accurate are these predictions?
The accuracy varies, but for basic categories, some studies are showing success rates of up to 60%. And here's something even more fascinating. AI algorithms are now analyzing thousands of dream reports to identify universal patterns and themes across different cultures.
I guess computers don't get tired of reading about people's weird dreams. But what are they finding?
Some really surprising things. For instance, these AI analyses have revealed that certain dream themes appear consistently across cultures and throughout history, suggesting there might be some universal aspects to how our brains process information during sleep.
Like those dreams where your teeth fall out? I've heard those are pretty universal.
That's a perfect example. And now, thanks to machine learning, we're starting to understand why certain themes keep recurring. The AI can identify patterns that human researchers might miss because it can analyze such massive amounts of data.
So, what's the next big breakthrough we're looking at? Are we going to be able to record our dreams like movies soon?
Well, there's some fascinating work happening with what's called real-time dream interaction. Scientists are developing systems that can detect when someone enters REM sleep and then use subtle audio cues to influence the dream content.
Like Inception?
Not quite that dramatic, but researchers have successfully helped people become aware they're dreaming. What we call lucid dreaming, using precisely timed sound and light signals.
I've always wanted to try lucid dreaming. Is this technology making it easier?
It's definitely helping. Some labs are using AI to identify the optimal moments to deliver these signals, which has increased success rates significantly. But perhaps the most exciting applications are in mental health treatment.
How so?
The technology is being used to help people with recurring nightmares. By detecting when a nightmare might be starting and delivering gentle sensory cues, they can help redirect the dream's content before it becomes distressing.
That's incredible, actually being able to intervene in someone's dreams to help them heal.
And we're just scratching the surface. There are now experiments using machine learning to develop personalized dream intervention protocols. The AI analyzes a person's dream patterns and helps design specific therapeutic approaches.
You know what's kind of funny? We started this episode talking about ancient dream temples, and now we're talking about AI analyzing our dreams. We've come full circle, just with better technology.
That's such a great observation. We're still trying to understand and use dreams for healing and insight. We're just using algorithms and electrodes instead of temple priests and sacred rituals.
Though I have to admit, sometimes the old way sounds a bit less intimidating than having an AI peek into my dreams.
Well, the good news is that all this technology is just a tool to help us better understand one of the most mysterious aspects of human consciousness. The dreams themselves. They're still very much our own. You know what's fascinating, Rowan? While we've been talking about all this cutting-edge technology, there's another incredible application of dream research that's helping people right now in very practical ways.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Mental health treatment. The way we're using dreams therapeutically has completely transformed in recent years. For instance, therapists are now using something called imagery rehearsal therapy with amazing results.
Imagery rehearsal therapy? That sounds intriguing. How does it work?
Well, imagine you're having recurring nightmares. The therapy teaches you to rewrite the narrative of your dream while you're awake, and then mentally rehearse this new, less distressing version. The success rates have been remarkable. Up to 60% of people see significant improvement.
60%? That's pretty impressive. But how do you actually rewrite a nightmare?
Let's say someone keeps dreaming about being chased. They might rewrite the dream so they turn around and face whatever's chasing them, or the chase turns into a friendly game of tag. It's about taking control of the narrative.
And this actually works? The nightmare just changes?
It does. And here's something really interesting. During the COVID-19 pandemic, researchers noticed some fascinating patterns in people's dreams.
Let me guess. Lots of virus-related nightmares?
Actually, it was more complex than that. Studies showed a 35% increase in dream recall, and yes, there was more negative content. But it wasn't just about the virus. People were processing all sorts of anxieties and changes in their lives through their dreams.
That makes sense. I remember having really vivid dreams during lockdown.
And that observation led to some breakthrough understandings about how we might use dreams as an early warning system for mental health issues.
Like a mental health check engine light?
That's a great analogy. Changes in dream patterns can often signal underlying psychological stress before we're consciously aware of it. Some therapists are now actively incorporating dream monitoring into their treatment protocols.
So our dreams might actually be trying to tell us something? That sounds almost like we're going back to those ancient interpretations.
Well, not exactly. Instead of looking for prophetic messages, we're recognizing dreams as a window into our psychological processing. For instance, people with depression often report dreams with specific patterns that can help in diagnosis and treatment.
What kind of patterns?
They might have dreams with more muted colors, less movement, or themes of being trapped. By recognizing these patterns early, therapists can intervene more effectively.
That's amazing. Are there other mental health conditions where dream therapy is proving helpful?
Absolutely. PTSD treatment is another area where dream work is showing tremendous promise. Some clinics are combining traditional therapy with lucid dreaming techniques to help veterans process trauma.
I can see how being able to control your dreams could be really powerful in that situation.
Exactly. And what's particularly exciting is how we're starting to understand the mechanism behind why this works. When people achieve lucidity in their dreams, It activates parts of the brain associated with emotional regulation and memory processing.
So it's not just about changing the dream, it's about actually rewiring the brain's response to traumatic memories?
Precisely. And this understanding is leading to more targeted therapeutic approaches. Some clinics are even using biofeedback devices to help people recognize when they're entering REM sleep, making it easier to achieve lucidity.
It's incredible how something as mysterious as dreams is becoming such a powerful therapeutic tool.
And we're really just at the beginning. As we combine these therapeutic insights with the technology we discussed earlier, we're opening up entirely new possibilities for mental health treatment. You know, Rowan, for all our scientific advances, there are still some fascinating controversies in dream research that really push the boundaries of what we understand about consciousness.
Oh? Like what kind of controversies are we talking about?
Well, there's this ongoing debate about whether we're actually conscious during our dreams in the same way we are when we're awake. Some researchers argue that dream consciousness is fundamentally different from waking consciousness.
But when I'm dreaming, I feel conscious. I mean, I'm experiencing things, right?
That's exactly what makes this so fascinating. Some scientists argue that what we experience in dreams is more like a simulation that we only become aware of after the fact. It's similar to how we can't really observe ourselves falling asleep.
Wait, so are you saying we might not be conscious while we're actually dreaming? That's kind of mind-bending.
And it gets even more interesting when we look at how artificial intelligence is helping us understand this. AI research is suggesting that consciousness might exist on a spectrum rather than being an on-off switch.
I've heard some pretty wild claims about dreams predicting the future. Is there any actual science behind that?
You're touching on one of the most controversial areas, precognitive dreams. While most scientists are skeptical, there have been some intriguing statistical analyses that suggest certain dream patterns occur more frequently before significant events.
Really? But couldn't that just be our brains connecting dots after the fact?
That's one of the main counter-arguments. It's called confirmation bias. We remember the hits and forget the misses, but here's where it gets interesting. Some researchers are using AI to analyze dream reports collected before major events to look for statistically significant patterns.
What kind of patterns are they finding?
Well, the results are still hotly debated, but some studies suggest that people's dreams show subtle changes in content and emotional tone before personally significant events. Though it's important to note this is more likely about our brains processing subtle environmental cues than actual precognition.
So our brains might be picking up on things we haven't consciously noticed yet?
Exactly. And this ties into some fascinating new theories about consciousness and information processing. Some researchers are suggesting that dreams might be a kind of predictive modeling system, our brains running simulations to prepare for possible future scenarios.
That sounds a lot more scientific than mystical dream prediction.
It does, but here's the really interesting part. Some of these modern scientific theories are actually finding common ground with ancient perspectives about dreams helping us understand our future, just through a completely different mechanism.
You know what I find really fascinating? How we keep coming up with new questions about dreams. It's like every answer leads to more mysteries.
That's so true. And one of the biggest mysteries we're grappling with now is the relationship between dreams and artificial consciousness. As AI systems become more sophisticated, some researchers are looking at dreams as a model for how artificial consciousness might develop.
Are you saying AI might need to dream?
Some scientists actually think that something analogous to dreaming might be necessary for developing true artificial consciousness. They're studying how our brains use dreams to process information and wondering if AI systems might need similar processes.
That's wild. The idea that machines might need to dream to become conscious. What's next in dream research?
Well, one of the most exciting frontiers is the study of shared dreams. Scientists are exploring whether multiple dreamers can interact in a shared dream space, which could have huge implications for our understanding of consciousness.
Like dream social networks? That sounds either amazing or terrifying.
It definitely raises some fascinating ethical questions about the future of dream research. As our technology advances, we'll need to think carefully about the implications of being able to influence or even share dreams.
Sounds like we're still just scratching the surface of understanding dreams.
We absolutely are, and maybe that's what makes this field so fascinating. There's always another layer of mystery to explore. You know, Rowan, when we started this journey through the science of dreams, we were talking about those ancient dream temples. Now here we are discussing AI analyzing our dreams and the possibility of shared dream spaces.
It's pretty incredible how far we've come. Though I have to say, it feels like we're still just beginning to understand what our dreams really mean for human consciousness.
That's exactly right. We've gone from divine interpretation to scientific investigation, but dreams still hold so many mysteries. The fact that we spend roughly a third of our lives in this altered state of consciousness processing memories and emotions in ways we're only starting to understand. It's remarkable.
And now, with all this new technology, EEG machines, AI analysis, therapeutic applications, it feels like we're on the verge of some really big breakthroughs.
Absolutely. The convergence of neuroscience, artificial intelligence, and therapeutic practices is opening up possibilities we could only have dreamed about. If you'll pardon the pun.
Ha! But seriously, what fascinates me most is how dreams connect us all. Whether you're a scientist in a sleep lab or someone trying to understand last night's weird dream about flying, we're all trying to make sense of this universal human experience.
That's beautifully put, Rowan. And maybe that's the most profound insight of all, awesome. That every night, as we close our eyes, we're participating in one of the most mysterious and powerful processes of human consciousness. We're not just sleeping, we're exploring the deepest reaches of what it means to be human.
Now that's something to dream about.
Thanks for listening. If you liked this Pathicast, don't forget to share it with your friends. See you next time.